Nvidia earnings happened today, okay? Jensen Huang has been signing titties. There was this is worth mentioning. Most people, the average person, should never ever care about a company's earnings report. It's like, this is not something anyone ever talked about before. And instead, we're getting Nvidia earnings watch parties. People were hanging out in bars to watch these announcements. This is not normal. This is like bubbly behavior. This is crazy. Leading into the earnings, the stock ran up so much. Expectations were so high that, again, Nvidia has to not only beat the expectations, they have to beat them by a lot. And looking at this earnings, Nvidia went from 26 billion to 30 billion in revenue. It's awesome. For any other company, it's amazing. But their valuation is so high that it's not perfect. And in fact, data center growth, which is where their AI growth has been, slowed just a little bit. It didn't beat by as much as they thought it would. You know, it beat, but it was like, it is a little bit slow. And so the market obviously is responding with a quick -8%. That being said, it was still a great earnings report. I don't expect too much disaster. This wasn't like the Nvidia popper or anything. This was pretty good. The only way Nvidia will actually see material slowdowns is when these companies stop buying. These are Nvidia's customers. These are their 6 biggest customers, actually. Microsoft, Meta, Supermicro, Alphabet, Amazon, and Dell. Now, it's worth mentioning, Supermicro, a report came out 2 days ago saying they're probably doing accounting fraud. This company is very likely Enron style doing accounting fraud, and they are basically investing in shell companies to buy their own product and loop it back. There's a possibility that this is not good. But the other ones, these are all titans of the industry. None of these have made any real money from AI yet. In fact, they've lost a lot of money. Mark Zuckerberg is getting a beating. Wall Street's patience for a costly AI arms race is waning. People are getting annoyed that Zuckerberg et al. And Bezos and these guys are just throwing hundreds of billions at AI. The question is whether Wall Street and investors can tell them to stop. People like Zuckerberg have so much power over their companies, and they seem to think that AI is a winner take all. We have to win, spend anything, it doesn't matter. Literally, Larry Page of Google said this. He said, "I'm willing to go bankrupt rather than lose this race." Now, if you're Nvidia, that's good to hear. If they're saying, "I'm going to buy your shit till I go bankrupt rather than lose," that's good. For everyone else, we don't know. Now, I'm not so sure this is actually true. And again, if you look at history, there's a quote from Steve Jobs before he died. This is maybe 2009, 10, something like that, where Steve Jobs basically says, "I am willing to bankrupt Apple to kill Android. I will never let anyone use Android. Android is just a ripoff of a fucking company, of a product." But then it didn't happen. Android's fine. Apple's fine. They just moved on. Like, CEOs will say this because it sounds strong, but when it comes to actually bankrupting their company, I'm not sure they're going to keep buying chips from Nvidia till the end of time. If it really isn't making them money, they might slow down. But they do believe they're in a race to create a digital god. The idea is, all these CEOs think whoever wins the AI race gets trillions and trillions of dollars and owns everything, and everyone else loses. And they might be right. But in the middle ground, that'd be really stupid. That's what Nvidia is relying on, is these guys, is basically from 5-6 CEOs really believing that they have to spend whatever it takes of all of their money to win this AI arms race. But it's obviously risky for everyone, and everything's banking on this one stock, selling to these few people that aren't making money off of it. Clearly, there's been a tiny bit of slowdown, which is why today's earnings report didn't go that well in terms of stock. But again, it was fine. I think people are overstating that it went badly just because the stock went down. What is Dell doing up there? IBM's up here. All the tech companies of any size, they're spending money on AI chips. If anything, honestly, companies like Dell and IBM and them, they're more likely to spend more because companies like Amazon and Meta and Microsoft, they're trying to make their own chips. They don't want to spend money on Nvidia. They hate it. Google especially. Google has they created TPUs, their own processing units. They're 100% trying to not buy Nvidia chips anymore, but they can't do it yet because Nvidia is ahead. Do you recommend pulling out of stocks into bonds or $2? I will never ever comment on this in a negative, the safe advice that everyone will give you, and I think is totally fine, is just safely dollar cost average into the maybe pick VOO or whatever. You know, I think S&P 500 is so concentrated that it's tough for me to ever recommend it, but just put your money in a diversified portfolio and dollar cost average in, don't try to time the market 100%. But I do want to mention, people talk about that like it's guaranteed 10% returns a year. And I want to understand that is true on a long enough timeline. You'll be able to diamond hands for 30 years sometimes. What I want you to show you is this, okay? Imagine you are an investor buying the S&P 500 in 1929. If that kind of downturn happens, you don't get your money back for 30 years. You don't get it for till 1956. 30 years, it doesn't go back to where it was. Same thing in 1969. If you buy in the peak of the 1960s, you don't get your money back till the mid-90s. That's 2 occasions in the past 100 years where there was a 30-year gap before you got back to the peak. People are talking like any dip will only last 5 months. I just want you to understand, like, they can last longer. It's fine if you have a very long time horizon. It does tend to go up 100%. Just don't be panicky. Or if you need it earlier than that, if you think, then pick something more diversified than just this hyper concentrated. That's all. I just want to mention that because people talk about it like they say these same stock phrases. Hey, I know this might sound stupid, but isn't recession a good market correction in the long term? Yeah, yes. If you're a young person, it kind of depends on how young and where you're at and whether you're graduating, and there's a lot, but like in general, there's the idea of like, hey, money has been invested in some stupid business. That business goes out of business. Suddenly you can buy Aeron chairs and office space really cheap. And now a young person can like start their own new good thing and like it becomes easier and all of our money isn't tied up in a few unproductive businesses. There's the idea that like a recession clears out all of the bad, unproductive businesses. The problem is we have avoided a recession for so long. The government has put their thumb on the scale. They've kinked the hose for so long that when it happens, it might be extra bad. You know, like the recession in 2001 was relatively mild. The average person might not even felt it. It was mostly felt in tech stocks. We lost companies like pets.com. Amazon lost some value, but then clawed back. You know what I'm saying? The recession in 2007 was way more severe. People lost their homes, their jobs, they lost earning potential. That was bad. And this one has been even longer. It's been almost 20 years of just straight up growth, no downturns. That's what's scary about it. But I agree with you in general. Can you clarify what rate cuts might work in a kind of downturn? The way rate cuts work is that people tend to think of them like a magic genie that will save them, is the point I was trying to make. In the past, people have always said, oh, just wait for rate cuts, it'll save us, it'll turn it around. But generally, what you find if you look at history is that the Fed is often behind the curve. They cut rates too late to stop a cyclical downturn. Unemployment's already up. People already aren't spending. Companies are already shutting down. They don't do as much as people expect. And then once you actually make the cut, people realize, oh shit isn't better. I still can't buy a house. I still can't, whatever. I still can't do anything. And then they wake up. It's kind of like the Biden debate. It's the moment where everyone kind of realizes, oh, wait, I thought we were all good. And then we're not. And then sentiment changes. That's the idea. How are you feeling about Lena Khan's chances of staying as chair? I think there's a good shot. Yeah, I think she's generally well liked among Democrats. And Kamala Harris hasn't said anything about cutting her. There's only some billionaire donors who've said it, but they always say that. And they're saying that on both sides of the aisle. I think there's a good chance. Certainly, my friend that works there thinks he has a way better chance. Is the U.S. being an oil exporter why I've noticed in Illinois the gas has gone down almost $1? Daily gas prices is affected by so many things that I can't tell you that, but I can tell you that the United States has cheaper gas than many countries. And it is because of our extraordinary efforts to secure it, both internally and externally. We have very, very low, compared to other countries, gas prices in America. Do you buy your treasuries through a broker or straight from Jerome? Yeah, I just hit him up. I hit up the plug. I hit up JP. We smoke a fatty, and then I say, give me some IOUs, bro. Why are treasuries safe? The United States government has not defaulted on a debt payment since the War of 1812. I'm not saying they won't. Actually, I am saying they probably won't. Because at worst comes to worst, they can print it. Treasuries get paid. The consequences of not paying are catastrophic, and certainly on a 6-month T-bill, you'll get paid, bro. Don't worry about it. I don't think Warren Buffett would put $2 billion in treasury if they weren't safe. Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. Warren Buffett's got Warren Buffett's got billions in it, and you're worried about your $200. Like, you're fine. Now, treasuries defaulting is like the last thing to worry about. Thoughts on Albertson Kroger? Bad merger, bro. Not good for consumers, not good for employees, not good for anybody. It's good for, I guess, grocery executives. If you're a grocery executive, it's good. Gashi, if you work as like executive VP of finance at Kroger, it's great. And I know most of my chat does that. I just want you to know. If Warren Buffett jumps off a bridge, would you? Exactly. Eric, stop editing the video. I've been owned with facts and logic. Delete this Marketing Monday. We'll never show it to anybody.